Just because you think that people are having more sex than you are doesn't mean that you are asexual. It just means that you're comparing yourself to what you think other people are doing when you're not there. I'd rather keep it real with ya. So I just got through recording 2 hours of content for you guys, only to realize when it came time to like pull up the videos and like look at them and then edit them and stuff, that my computer did not actually save them. So even though everything was recording and everything was working correctly on the front end, when I stopped recording and saved the video, it did not save the video. It's just some kind of weird, like, temporary file with no data in it. And it looks like it's because it thinks that there isn't enough space on the computer. I just wish that I would have gotten some kind of error the first time that I stopped recording, or when I started recording, where it could have been like, hey, we ain't got no space for this. Like when I used to record on my phone, it would tell me like, hey, you only got 30 minutes to talk because we don't have any more space. Unfortunately, that is not the case on this computer that I've been recording with or saving my recordings with. So I'm tired because I just got through talking for 2 hours. But I wanted to get this video, at least one video, recorded for you guys today to answer your questions, because I do appreciate that you guys asked me questions in my comment. It's not a lot of y'all, but I did also post on social media, different social media pages. I don't have a public Minu page. I just have my personal, so I posted on different pages asking people for questions, asking people for experiences. So for those of you who commented on my YouTube post, I want to address those questions, and I'm addressing them again because, like I said, I just recorded for 2 hours. Sorry. Happy Sunday. Jesus. Not actual Jesus. I'm an atheist. Yeah, like at this point, it's like I should be eating lunch and stuff, and I'm just like, fuck it, no, I gotta record this. I record this, and I won't do shit for the rest of the day, but watch Japanese TV. By the way, I mentioned in some comments, I had ExpressVPN for like 2 years, and it won't let me watch Japanese TV, and I finally switched over to Surfshark, which is way cheaper. I think like 3 times cheaper, and no, actually, ExpressVPN is like $150 a year, and I would say Surfshark is like $40 a year. So it's a good deal, cheaper than ExpressVPN. And I can watch Japanese TV, so I've been into that, watching the drama shows. They have anime, sports, K-dramas, everything. When you switch your VPN to Japan. This isn't a sponsored ad. I'm not big enough to get sponsored ads. I'm just letting those of you know. ExpressVPN, they pay a lot of money for ads, but they ain't got it. And Netflix also blocks me on ExpressVPN. So Surfshark, I get past Netflix, I watch my Japanese stuff. Okay. So let's go back to this YouTube thing. I'm so upset. I'm tired. So let me go through these questions again. Maybe you'll be a better at it, look on the bright side of things. Okay, so Team Barbie for Life said, how can you figure out if you're ace or you just have low libido or have a fear of intimacy? So these are obviously 3 different things. Fear of intimacy. First of all, what does intimacy mean to you? Because intimacy does not mean just sex. For me, I would say 1, touch is not my love language. 2, I do have attachment injuries, attachment trauma. I do have all types of trauma that I won't go into detail about it. That leads me to not be very comfortable with touch. Any type of touch. Not super comfortable with hugs. Don't pat me on the shoulder. Don't put your hand on my lower back. Don't try to give me a back rub. You know, I'm not that comfortable with touch. I'm not comfortable with people who sit too close to me. I like to have my own space. I don't like to be in crowds. You know what I mean? So because of those things, I have issues with being touched. That's not connected to sexual attraction. You can very much have all of that and be attracted to men, women, whatever. Those are connected to what your experiences are, basically. So fear of intimacy or being uncomfortable with physical intimacy is not an orientation. It's just you're not big on touch. There are plenty of people who that's just not their love language. You know, your love language may be quality time. It may be acts of service, you know. So if you're somebody who's not that good with being touched, but you know, you are, you know, in a relationship and your person spends like a lot of time with you or they do nice things for you and that you're sexually attracted to them, all of that is still very possible. You just don't want to be all lovey-dovey cuddled up with each other because you're just not like that. You like your own space. But I know plenty of people who like their own space and doesn't like to be smothered by their partner, who are still sexually attracted to their partner, who still want to have sex with their partner. Libido is literally just arousal. So if you use like I use the donut analogy. I don't like donuts really. And it's weird to say I don't like donuts because if anybody's known me for a long enough time, they've known me to eat a donut every now and then. I prefer like I like the very plain donuts with not a lot of stuff going on them. I'm not a big sugar person. I will eat a donut once a year. Once every 2 years, maybe. It just depends on the situation. If I'm, you know, somebody's like, hey, they're giving away free donuts, I'll grab one if they have a plain donut available. I will not eat the maple bacon donut. I will not eat the sundae donut. I will not eat the triple Oreo nut donut. You know what I mean? I don't do all that. That's too much for me. I don't desire donuts. I don't see donuts on TV and think, man, I need to go get a donut. I don't think about donuts. It's just like, it's a donut, you know, it's there. If there's one and it is of the type I like that I'm comfortable with, I may eat it. I really only eat one. Once I eat that one, I'm good for the year. I don't want to eat more than one. I had one situation where I ended up with 3 donuts and I was like, fuck, do I really got to eat all 3 of these donuts? Damn. Ugh. I just found it kind of annoying. But if you look at it like, if you think about that as like sex, like some people are just like, you know, maybe I like to have sex, but I don't like to have a lot of sex. Yeah. Do I look at people and find them sexy? Yeah. But I don't like to have a lot of sex. Okay. If you were thinking about donuts, maybe I'm not hungry very often. You know, maybe if I'm not hungry and there are donuts, I'm probably not going to eat a donut. You know, maybe if I feel full and there are donuts, I don't want to eat a donut. It's going to make me feel bad. Maybe if I'm hungry and I see donuts, I'll be like, okay, let's eat donuts. You can have all types of attitudes towards donuts and not want to eat one based on whether or not you actually feel hungry. There are some people who could be stuffed and they'll eat a fucking donut because they love donuts so much. So that's the PC way of talking about it. Libido is literally just whether or not you feel arousal. So the way that I talk about it, as someone who is sex repulsed, when I look back in my past and even now, I've had periods where I have had high libido. I hit puberty earlier than everyone else when I was 8 in 3rd grade. And even though I hit puberty early, I was not interested in having sex with anyone. I was not interested in having sexual relationships. Around the time the other kids started being like, you know, wanting to touch each other, wanting to experiment. Middle school, they were full on doing it. Even when I had like a crush where I was like, ooh, that guy's really cute. If he wanted to have sex with me, I wouldn't do it. And I had very many opportunities, unfortunately, in middle school and high school to have sex with people who I thought were aesthetically attractive or who I may have had a crush on or thought was cute or whatever. I did not want to have sex with them. I did not want to get sexual with them in any way, you know, because unfortunately teens have a lot of times when they're just like not being watched by adults and they do stuff. I was never interested in doing that. I was never interested in the act of it. Because I have a low libido, I very rarely feel aroused. I've said in other videos, I do watch porn. I do masturbate when I do feel like it, every few months or so. I never get aroused and think, I wish someone was here that I could have sex with them. I've never been aroused and looked at someone and thought, wow, if this person were here, we would have sex. I've never watched porn and thought, if this actor was here, we would have sex. I've never inserted myself into it. I am a third person watching this sexualized scene and enjoying it as that. I've always looked at people's naked bodies as naked bodies. Let me get Morticia. I don't know where Sadie with me. She better be acting right. You want to tell them what you was doing, Morticia? Huh? See, this is the face she makes when she gets caught doing something. Tell them what you was doing, Morticia, huh? Tell them what you was doing. Get up there. But anyway, so, I remember even though I was going through these periods where I was feeling arousal more and I was having a higher libido, seeing naked bodies and thinking they're just naked bodies. And only when I saw something that was explicitly a sexualized image that I was like, okay, I see that. I see the image for what it is. I see the video for what it is. I don't see, someone and immediately sexualize them the way other people do. In fact, I find it very annoying how sexualized our society is. People sexualize everything. They sexualize gay people who are just living their lives. They sexualize children because a child wants to transition or they think someone's cute. Not everything's sexual, you know what I mean? And it's weird to me to see that. And as I become older and I look back at more things and I reflect on more things, despite the fact that I have trauma, despite the fact that I have attachment injuries, I've never been able to sexualize people in the way that my hypersexual family and friends did. And so coming from, and this is just my experience and I hope that it's helpful, someone who does not want to have sex, does not ever want to have sex, has no interest in having sex with anyone, no matter how cute they are. Even when I was a preteen watching anime and seeing the cute guys or whatever, and you have your little anime boyfriend or whatever, I never thought if I was in that anime, me and So-So would have sex. That was never something for me. I know people who maybe you might dream about it, you may fantasize about it, but you have no intention of doing it in real life and you don't actually feel sexually attracted to these characters that you see on the screen, whether they are real or cartoon. And arousal is just that. Like, I just look at it as like sometimes your hormones, make it so that you are aroused. Sometimes you get hungry and you eat. Do you have to eat certain things when you're hungry? Or can you just eat, something that satisfies the hunger versus being like, oh, I'm hungry, I have to go out to a restaurant every time I'm hungry. No, you could just make something at home by yourself. You don't have to eat with other people. You don't have to eat while watching TV. You could just eat, and focus on the food itself versus all of the other things that people have told you throughout life that make eating better. You know what I mean? I had this fear because I have a friend who, identified as ace, but then they went on hormone therapy and they were like, actually, I'm not ace and I'm having sex with everybody and my libido is super high now. And I was worried about that. I asked my trauma therapist, I got this trauma, I have attachment injuries, like what if? And they were like, from what I know about you, from having, known you this whole time, and we've gone through these traumas and we've done the timeline, we know what's happened to you. I doubt that even if you had a situation where your libido went up, that you would suddenly feel sexual attraction and be wanting to have sex with people. I highly doubt that, given who you are as a person. And then it can be difficult to separate that. A lot of people say, like, one of the questions was feeling ace enough. It can make you feel like you're not ace enough if you experience arousal. It can make you feel like you're not ace enough if you've actually had sex and it felt good. Sex can feel good, just like eating can feel good. Some people go a little overboard and some people don't like to eat as much, and that's okay. It's really about whether or not you can look at someone and find them sexually attractive and the idea of having sex with that person is good and you would like to do that. If you can look at somebody and think they're cute, but I don't really want to do anything with them sexually, then you're not sexually attracted to that person. I think in our culture, our hypersexual culture, We tend to be very, like, the allosexuals can't separate those things. So you're taught from a young age that if you think someone's cute, you must want to have sex with them. And that's just not true, and you can separate those things. Like, if there was ever an asexual agenda, I think that would be it, to separate sex from things that it doesn't always have to be tied to. Sex is sex. It doesn't have to be tied to everything else. Like I said, I had moments of high libido. I had crushes. I had, people who I liked, people who I thought were aesthetically attractive. Never did I ever want to have sex with those people. And some people may say, well, I felt like that, but only one time. Okay, you felt like that only one time. It's whatever. Some people are like, yeah, I go through periods where I feel like that, and I go through periods where I feel like that. I don't know. Listen, the way I define asexuality, I say you don't have sexual attraction. If you do, I'm not talking about you. Not to do the whole you don't belong, whatever. I'm not that type of person. But I'm literally operating from that, because when I was first trying to discover if I was asexual or not, using it as you do not experience sexual attraction, and then all of the information and experiences that went along with that definition is what helped me discover that I was actually ace. Right now, there's probably 15 different definitions that people are using in the asexual community to describe what is ace and what is not ace. At this point, there's nothing that's not ace. So I don't really want to dive into all of those different definitions that people have created and made up, or in the different orientations that bored white people have made up in their house, because they want every specific sexual preference to be a sexual orientation, and it doesn't have to. I'm not talking about none of that. I'm talking about whether you experience hunger or not, versus whether you want to eat food, versus whether or not you want to eat a specific type of food, or you want to eat at a specific type of restaurant. Like, stuff like that is what I'm talking about when it comes to libido versus attraction, sexual attraction versus aesthetic attraction. And I'm saying this as a sex repulsed ace to kind of help you get a baseline of how this works. If you are someone who is neutral about sex, where I was always drawn to the whole, if you never had sex again, how would you feel about that? Usually sex repulsed and sex indifferent people will say, fine, I never have to have sex with anybody. What I do with myself is fine. I don't have to be engaged with other people. I don't desire that. That's not something that I feel like doing. If it happens, it happens. If it don't. That's usually where indifferent and repulsed people lie. Sex positive people is actually, I feel like, spanning across different orientations versus just being under the asexual umbrella. So sex positive people, I feel like, are thinking that they're ace. Some of them are. Some of them could easily be ace, and then I feel like there are some of them who aren't actually ace, but they're claiming ace because apparently they forget that you can be a sex repulsed gay man or a sex repulsed lesbian. You can. And you can be a sex positive person who enjoys sex, who seeks out sexual experiences, and wants to have sex with people all the time. Doesn't necessarily scream ace to me. So I'm not exactly sure where they land on that. There are people who feel like they just don't feel sexual attraction, or they don't feel the desire to have sex with people as much as they think other people are having sex with people. And that's where those extra definitions of asexuality that I don't claim come into play. Just because you think that people are having more sex than you are doesn't mean that you are asexual. It just means that you're comparing yourself to what you think other people are doing when you're not there. I come from a very hypersexual family. I could have easily just been a straight woman or a gay woman who didn't have as much sex as the people around me, but I just happen to be asexual. I don't think that I'm asexual because I don't desire sex as much as they do. I think that I'm asexual because I don't desire sex with other people at all. Some people may think that sex feels good, but they struggle with actually finding people to have sex with because you're not sexually attracted to those people. And for you, it's more about the act than the person. And there's some gray areas there. I see that. But you got to understand that sexual attraction is when you are looking at someone and you are feeling like, I am sexually aroused, I am turned on by this person. And if this person were to want to have sex with me, I'd be 100% down with that, because I know that I would enjoy sex with this person. Those are when you're experiencing sexual arousal. If you're just horny, and you're looking around and you're like, none of these people look good, but I guess if I'm going to satisfy this urge, I guess I'll do it. That's kind of more on the line of like sex and different people. Kind of similar. Like if you're hungry and you go to a restaurant and nothing on the menu actually looks good, but you're hungry and everyone's told you that everything at the restaurant is delicious, and you're just like, I guess I'll order the catfish nuggets. You know what I mean? I guess, I mean, I'm hungry. I have to eat something, right? You know, but you could just as easily be at home and make something for yourself to eat, and it doesn't have to be that big of a deal. So that's kind of the difference. So think of libido as whether or not you are aroused, whether or not you are hungry. And then sexual attraction is whether or not you are looking at someone and you are turned on by that person and you want to have sex with that person. I hope that that's good enough, because like I said, very tired because I talked for 2 hours and there was no one to listen.